some of our other spots. Just getting too good at it.
All right, Alder Jones, we are live.
Thank you. Good afternoon, everyone. The hour being 5:30 on October 31st, 2023. I will now call the Public Works and Service Committee meeting to order. Mr. Pritzloff, would you call the roll, please?
Thank you, Madam Chair. Alder Jones,
Present.
Alder Jarrett,
Present.
Alder Davis,
Present.
Alder Perez,
Present.
Alder Kelly is excused.
Thank you. The first item on our agenda is the approval of the minutes from October 10th, 2023 meeting.
Move to approve.
Second. Motion and second to approve the minutes from October 10th, 2023. Any corrections? Comments? Seeing none, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Oppose? The motion passes. First item on the agenda, Mr. Pritzloff, would you read our first item, please?
Thank you, Madam Chair. Item number 1048-23. Communication sponsored by Alder Jones on behalf of the Department of Parks, Recreation, and Cultural Services, submitting bid results for wastewater utility contract number C-23, Johnson Park Lift Station improvements. Staff recommendation that contract number C-23, Johnson Park Lift Station improvements, be awarded to August Winter and Sons Incorporated in the amount of $257,600, they being the lowest responsive bidder. Funding is available in the following org objects: 45050-57110. And we have Mr. Molbeck and Mr. Tillis here if they'd like to speak on that.
So yeah, thank you. So this item is for lift station improvements. This lift station is in Johnson's Park. This project was bid out through wastewater utilities and it did receive 2 bids. You should have received some of the documents that support our recommendation to approve and award this project number C-23 to August Winter and Son Incorporated. Note that the dollars are available in the accounts that were listed in the communication, but know that the project will be managed by wastewater utility staff. This item, because it's being funded through our CIP budget, we felt that it was, it needs council approval. So we felt that this committee was the one to get it to council for that approval. You mentioned that Nate Tillis is here from wastewater to also answer some questions, but we're looking for your approval to pass it on to council.
Thank you. Alder Perez.
What does the current lift station do? I have an idea.
So the current lift station serves Johnson Park, just the bathrooms at that house over there. So right now it just takes all the waste from that bathroom. It pumps it up an extremely long force main, pressurized pipe down the way outside of the park, and then it goes to the treatment park by gravity. The original lift station was built in, I think it was 1992. So the mechanicals and a lot of the infrastructure in the lift station is in disrepair. It's kind of cost prohibitive to make any repairs on the lift station as it is. So this upgrade would upgrade the mechanicals and the controls for this particular lift station.
So to help it with more of the location, it's not in the golf course itself. If you can imagine being out there by the hitting range, the range, off to the left, there's a couple buildings that are there. It's in that area, so it will not affect anything with the course at all. Okay. Good to go.
Any further questions from committee members? Seeing none, a motion will be in order.
Move to approve.
Motion by Alder Perez, and was it second by Alder Davis?
Yes.
Second by Alder Davis to approve item 1048-23. Seeing no further questions, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? The motion passes. Thank
Thank
you. The next item on our agenda is 1023-23, and we will be deferring that item until our next committee meeting. So then our next item on our agenda would be 1025-23. Mr. Pritzloff, would you read the item, please?
Thank you, Madam Chair. We have a communication sponsored by Alder Jones. Excuse me. On behalf of the Assistant Commissioner of Public Works, submitting Amendment 4 to the recycling contract with John's Disposal Service Incorporated. Staff recommendation that Amendment 4 to the John's Disposal Service Inc. Be approved for 6 months. Funding to defray the cost of the cement is available in Org Object 22140-52200 contracted services. And since I'm the one that's taking this item, the city of Racine entered into a 5-year agreement with John's Disposal back in 2012. Had 3 subsequent amendments extending the contract through December 31st of this year. We've received pricing to extend the contract by 6 months, which that pricing will remain the same. Pricing is not going to change. So the proposed 2024 rates are identical to the 2023 rates. The only change with regard to this amendment is the time period extension. And the reason we need to extend this is because we're going to still be in our transition plan for the first 6 months of next year. So if you recall that we had to go into a transition plan while the transfer station was being built. We fully expect it to be online in July 1st, but in the interim, we need to extend some of these contracts. So in that vein, staff recommends that Amendment 4 with John's Disposal be approved for an additional 6 months. Based on the average year, the total cost will be approximately $280,000. Available in Org Object 22140-52300 contracted services. Welcome to any
Thank
questions.
you, Mr. Pritzloff. Alder Perez.
Mr. Pritzloff. Ron. So what are the numbers here then? Because they're different than what you said. 2020 proposed rate, 2023 proposed rate 1 year, and 2023 proposed rate 3 year.
So what I did was just to remind everybody what the bids were from the last time that we extended this. These numbers are going to stay. So the 2022 rates were the ones that were changed at the last action this body took. So we were coming up against our contract was ending with John's at that point in time at the end of 2022, and we needed to extend it. So if you look at the 2023 proposed rate 1 year, that is what we were paying right now. So $98.50 a ton for processing, $18 a ton for glass, and $45 a ton for residue disposal, which is garbage that gets commingled in with recycling. So, yeah. So we actually pay for that. Those rates will remain the same for the next 6 months until we negotiate a new contract. And once the transportation becomes operational, we're going to actually be trucking that. We're actually going to be contracting a trucking service to haul that stuff off. So, well, at that point, we'll renegotiate and likely come back to you with something a little bit more long-term.
What's the third column also says 2023 proposed rate 3 year.
So that would be if we were extending the contract for 3 years versus 1 year. The reason we didn't,
that less?
it is less. But at the time, we were going to extend it 3 years, depending upon what's happened with the transfer. The transfer station kind of tied our hands in this. We thought it'd be the end of 2023. Ended up having to rebid it. Now it's going to be 6 months later. So we thought we were only going to have 1 year. So now we gotta. But they're not changing it for this extension. So that's good news. I would hope, and I'm not going to guarantee this, but I would hope it would go down the next time we come to this body with a contract, because we're going to ask for something a little longer term. And at that time, we'll be in a better position to actually accept something like that. Make sense?
Madam Chair, if I may, I think the next couple items are very similar to this. So as the Assistant Commissioner stated, we are still going to be in this transition plan for the first 6 months of the year. We're hoping to have the transfer station completed around mid to late May and open to the public on July 1st. What we are going to be doing in the first few months of 2024 is two things. We're going to be negotiating long-term contracts for disposal of waste materials, whether it's municipal solid waste in bulk with a landfill that gives us the best tipping fees long-term to dispose of those items. And then we'll be negotiating for disposal of recyclable materials as well, which more than likely is going to be John's because they're the closest MRF there is to the city of Racine. But we need to do those separately. We want to try to work into longer term agreements with extensions so we can receive better pricing for the city of Racine. Remember, landfills, they want material. They need a steady stream of materials to stay open. That's what they need as revenue to run their operation. Concurrently to doing that, we're also going to be looking at, as Ron said, contractors to haul. Remember, we're only going to be in the business of taking refuse and recyclables to our new transfer station. They will go on a tipping floor. They'll be pushed into compactors. That material will be trucked by an independent contractor. We will also receive bids on to take that municipal solid waste to the landfill that gives us the best tipping rates, and to the MRF that gives us the best price to handle recyclable materials. So when we get those longer term rates in place and we bring them to this committee, we're going to say, this is your best deal, Public Works and Services Committee, for the next foreseeable future to dispose of these materials. When that is approved, then we'll know where the material is going. Then we will solicit bids from contractors to say, hey, this material has to go to this MRF or to this landfill, because we'll have that set up. Then they will give us that trucking contract, and then we'll bring it back this material to enter into those agreements. Material can be moved out of that transfer station on a daily basis. Remember, we cannot keep any material in the transfer station overnight. That's a DNR requirement. So you're going to see two more things coming in next spring. Ron will be spearheading those up for the long-term disposal of the material and then for the trucking of that material to whatever destination it goes to. I hope that kind of clarifies it, because the other items are very similar to this. The next one I think Ron's going to be for municipal solid waste. We also have to deal with our material that we collect from the streets, street sweepers. That's another one Ron will be talking about as well. I hope that helps.
It does. Thank you, Commissioner Rooney. Alder Perez, does that answer your question?
Good.
Thank you. Seeing no further question, a motion will be in order.
Motion to approve.
Second.
It's been motion and second to approve item 1025-23. Seeing no further questions, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Oppose? The motion passes. The next item is 1030-23. Mr. Pritzloff, would you read the item, please?
Thank you, Madam Chair. We have a communication sponsored by Alder Jones on behalf of the Assistant Commissioner of Public Works submitting an extension on contract 2023-005 with Waste Management for street sweeping disposal. Staff recommendation that the city extend contract 2023-005 with Waste Management until July 1, 2024 for street sweeping disposal in the amount of $50,000. Funding is available in org object 60484-52215, waste disposal. So once again, on January 1st, we entered into an agreement with Waste Management for sweeper material storage, transport, and disposal. It expires December 31st, 2023. And once again, since we're in that transition plan, we're going to need to extend another 6 months. The time extension does not include a cost increase. Waste Management is holding their price. So staff recommends that the 6-month contract extension be approved, holding the initial cost as bid in the estimated total amount of $50,000. And funding for the work is available in org object 60484-52215 waste disposal. Madam Chair.
Thank you, Mr. Pritzlaff. Alder Jarrett.
Yes, thank you. I was actually just wanted to email to you earlier on. Sorry about that. In the org object 14006522115 waste disposal, it says it's only 27,000 available. Is that partial of the 54,388 that is going to be covered?
Yeah, so I think what you're reading is like a whole year was we're asking actually for 50,000. I'm not sure, but
The revised number.
yeah.
Okay.
Regardless, that's a partial year that we're asking for. So we spent about $50,000 to date. So that's what I went with in terms of what our ask is.
Okay, so that 27,000 is just what's going to be the amount that will be covering for that 6-month span.
Correct.
The 50,000 is what we have budgeted for 2024.
Yep.
And that comes out of the stormwater budget for those types of services, because that is a product of street sweeping. And I think, as you all know, street sweeping is an operational cost paid for on the stormwater utility rate. So.
Okay, thank you.
Any further questions from committee members? Seeing none, a motion will be in order for item 1030-23.
Move to approve.
The chair will second. It's motioned by Alder Jarrett, second by Chairwoman Jones to approve item 1030-23. Seeing no further questions, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Oppose? The motion passes. The next item, 1031-23, Mr. Pritzlaff.
Public communications sponsored by Alder Jones on behalf of the Department of Public Works, submitting change order number 3 to contract 2023029, Racine Public Works Transfer Station, Bukacek Construction Contractors. Staff recommendation that change order number 3 to contract 2023029, Racine Public Works Transfer Station, Bukacek Construction Contractors be approved in the amount of $85,658.24. Funding for this change order is available in org object 45040-57110 transfer station. This change order is change order number 3. We've had 2 previous change orders, roughly in the amount of $84,000. So change order number 3 increases the contract amount by $85,000. I've got some pictures here that I can show you, or I'm going to try and share my screen. Hopefully you can see them. The reason we're asking for this change order is we encountered a storm sewer pipe. Can everybody, oh, that's not it. Oops. Yeah, it's right down. Hold on, sorry. There we go. All right, so if, can everybody see my screen?
Yes,
You should see a bunch of rebar sticking up in this black pipe right here.
yes.
So we encountered that pipe while we were excavating for a foundation wall. And we found that pipe extended all the way through the site. From the apartments up at the northwest, it'd be the northeast corner of the site. So a long stretch of ADS plastic pipe that was in bad shape. You can see we're trying to pump water out of it with 3 smaller pipes in that location. So that required 2 things. Number one, we had to reroute it because it's taking all that water from the northeast. And number 2, we had to change the material to a concrete, reinforced concrete pipe, which is certainly more reliable material. Our suspicion was that this may have been a ditch at some point, in which case somebody made it, the previous owner probably laid a pipe in the bottom of it, just covered it up. So we weren't aware it was there. So you can see the direction that storm is traversing. It would go straight kind of through this foundation area here, which is no good. And then, like I said, the material of that pipe is just such that you could tell it was being crushed. Let me see if I can bring up, here's another picture of it. Some stuff that we took out. And then here's another angle from the other side. You can see the pipe is kind of skewing towards the southwest through the site. It continues on the other side as it propagates through. So that's the biggest part of the change order. The second part of the change order is changing the scale. Was originally spec'd as steel. We want to change that to concrete. It'll be a little bit more winter operation friendly for us in terms of salt and what have you. So are there any questions? Was everybody able to see these pictures?
And one other comment about the sewer that went through the site. I think, as Ron said, we suspect that it was probably an open channel ditch that came from that subdivision from the north and east of our project site. And it's probably filled in by a previous owner and covered up. So yeah, number one, the sewer had to get relocated. It's going through the foundations of the footings, for the transfer station itself. And then, yeah, we definitely switched to reinforced concrete pipe to go around this. It still has to get to the municipal storm sewer collection system out there on 21st Street. But this ADS plastic pipe would not take the loads that we have when we have fully loaded refuse trucks coming into the transfer station off the scale. So that's why that pipe material was changed as well. So it was a material change that we needed to make. We can't certainly just cut off the runoff coming from the north and the east. It would have no place to go. It would cause upstream flooding and a whole host of other problems. This sewer pipe, again, was located on any of our Alta surveys. That Alta survey, identified all utilities out there that were known. Easements as well were provided on that Alta survey. It's a title survey along with a land and topographic survey. So it's one of these things, again, that you encounter when you buy property, and there are certain things that are unknown, and this was certainly one of them. So I think Ron gave the explanation pretty well. And obviously the scale is an issue we want to move to concrete on because of de-icing of the scale.
Thank you, Commissioner Rooney and Mr. Pritzloff. Any questions from committee members? Seeing none, a motion will be in order.
Motion to approve.
Second.
It has been motioned and second to approve item 1031-23. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The motion passes. Our final item is 1032-23. Mr. Pritzloff, would you read the item? Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Chair. We have a communication sponsored by Alder Jones on behalf of the Assistant Commissioner of Public Works, submitting an extension on contract 2023004 with GFL Emerald Park for solid waste disposal. Recommendation that the city extend contract 2023004 with GFL Emerald Park until July 1, 2024 for solid waste disposal in the amount of $625,000. Funding is available in the following org object: 14006-52215. So this is the last of the extensions that we've brought before you today. And this one has to do with specifically with municipal solid waste. That contract is going to expire once again here at the end of 2023. And we're continuing with the 6-month, continue with the 6-month transition plan. We needed to extend the contract. So in this case, the municipal solid waste and construction demolition went up 2.5%. So they went up $1 per ton from $40 to $41, and bulk items went up 2.6%, going up $1.15 per ton for the next 6 months. So,
Thank you.
Staff recommends that the Public Works Service Group approve the contract extension with GFL Elmore Park at their proposed prices outlined in the memo. And once again, funding is available at 14006-52215.
Thank you, Mr. Pritchloff. Alder Perez.
Ron, when it goes up $1 a ton, what's the estimated cost at the end of the period, at the end of the 6 months, or they're extending?
Well, the estimated cost is $625,000. That's what I based that number off of.
Mhm.
But if you think of in terms of municipal solid waste, we do about 25,000 tons a year.
It'll be another $25,000.
Yeah,
For a year-long period, so in this case, probably more like half of that.
okay.
Yeah, and
So,
I think it's also important to note that even with this buck increase on MSW and construction and demo and $1.15 on bulk items, the tipping fees that Kestrel Hawk landfill that Republic was charging us were astronomical compared to these. We were paying $48 a ton around that for MSW.
Yeah.
And our bulk items were in almost double that, in the 90s. So we really have reduced costs on our tipping fees here. Even with this small increase, we are saving a lot of money by tipping at this other landfill. Granted, we've got the haul costs, but again, this is long range. It's going to be a much better situation for the city of Racine when we enter into a longer term contract next spring, whether it be GFL or Waste Management. We don't really care where the material goes as long as it's the cheapest tipping fee they can provide the city of Racine. And we'll work out the haul with our contractor at that time as well. So just want to put that in a little bit of context. Even though the rates are going up $1, they're still damn near 20% cheaper than what we paid at Kestrel Hawk for MSW and almost 50% cheaper we were paying for bulk. So
Thank you. Alder Perez, do you have an additional question?
No, move to approve.
Is
Second,
there a second?
second,
It's been moved and, excuse me, been motion and second to approve the item as presented. Seeing no further questions, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed? The motion passes. This concludes our agenda for this afternoon. Thanks, everyone. The meeting is adjourned.
thank you.
thank you. Have a good night.
Thank you. You as well.